introduction, what does it also say being picked to finish first again in the conference? Just the respect that people around the league have for this program, even though I know you guys do have to go out and prove again.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that, honestly. Of course, I look at polls. The only time I look at a poll really is at the end of the year. I never look at RPI during the year. I know what we have to do. I mean, we have to win. We have to concentrate on winning. We can't concentrate on who the opponent is. We have to understand how to play the game of baseball, no matter who that is. And it's a journey. I mean, and you can't have many hiccups. You have to take it game to game. For us to be touted number one or picked number one preseason is nothing but respect for what we've done in this program. To me, it has nothing to do with this team. Just like you went for a new job interview, whatever your resume says is everything you've done before now. That employer, it's up to you to go out and show if you're up to that billing. So that's where we are with this program as well. It's certainly out of respect. Tradition is about consistency. Over the last 4 years, we've won 5 conference titles, 2 of those being regular season, 3 being tournament titles. We've been to 4 straight regionals, so we've been doing some things right with that. Our players have obviously been doing more right things than wrong things for us to continue to do that consistency. And we have players in place. We've got Guidry, we've got Walker Powell, we've got Montenegro, who are all preseason picks, and I think rightfully so. Those are guys that have logged experience and shown that they're worthy of that. Now they need to be our leaders with the rest of the team and making sure that we continue that consistency.
Can you talk about the schedule itself?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the hardest schedule that we've ever played. I will tell you, though, that of every team that we play on there, they all give scholarships and they're Division I players. And they're well coached, and those kids show up to play and win just like we do. So every day is a battle. And that's why I say we don't get caught up in the opponent, who it is. We have to have an opponent to play. And they practice just like we do to win. So I think the schedule is going to be very challenging for us. I think the conference schedule, there's a lot of parity there. I look at the top and I look at the bottom, and even those teams in the bottom, I'm kind of like, I don't know why they didn't get votes or what put them there, because there is a lot of parity. I know there has to be a top and a bottom, but I just see a lot more potential out of a lot of those teams that were picked lesser than the ones at the top. So the schedule is going to be a good schedule. First 3 out of 4 weekends will be at home. I think we have nine games against regional teams last year. I can't remember what that was. 8 or 9 games against regional teams. We have state on there for Trustmark, Ole Miss for 2. Bama. So we've got a pretty good schedule. Murray State coming in here, they're just like us. They're a brand new team. I don't know what they were last year. I haven't had a chance to get in there and look at them, but their blueprint is probably totally different than it was last year, just like ours is. Second weekend, I know it'll be a very good challenge in Central Arkansas. Coach Gum, a good friend of mine, came in here back years ago, beat us 2 out of 3, and that was the year they went to regional, and I believe Pop State up there in Starkville as well. So you never know. Third weekend, we're at McNeese State, a regional team last year against Valparaiso. That came about because the Pensacola tournament got canceled. So when that happened, we were kind of out of nobody to play. Schedules are usually done 2 years in advance. So Coach Hill at McNeese was gracious enough to include us in there for a 4-game kind of tournament style. Otherwise, we had nobody to play that third weekend. And then the fourth weekend is a former player of mine from Meridian that runs the program at Arkansas Little Rock. Chris Curry does an outstanding job, and he'll have his guys well prepared to come in here that fourth weekend before we open up with FIU at home.
You were talking about midweek games. Can you talk about starter in the midweek? Are you looking at a freshman, putting them in there kind of like you did with Gabe last year, bringing them along, or?
Don't know. Good question. Certainly we've been trying to go through different scenarios, but I think the only scenario, Heath, that you can really look at is you go back to what I like to do, and that's play one game at a time. When we get through with that first weekend, we have to find a way to win all 3 of those games against Murray State, no matter what. I can't look at UNO on Tuesday night and who we're going to start there. We've got to do everything we can to win Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then on Sunday, then we'll figure out who will go on Tuesday. And I think that's what you're going to see for a little while until things kind of level themselves out, in all honesty. We're so new. We got 7 guys returning position player-wise that had experience, a lot of experience, some just a touch. And then we have 9 pitchers. So we have 16 people out of a roster of 35 last year that returned from the program last year that actually had playing time of some sort. So we're going to have to embrace a lot of new faces out there and be patient with them and learn on the job. But it's going to be exciting to watch them because I think they're competitive young kids and they're willing to get after it.
Coach, where would you say Shepherd is right now compared to the way you finished out last?
Well, we shut him down all summer. He didn't go out and pitch at all in the summer. The fall, I thought he was a little erratic, but that's okay because the velocity was there. I just didn't think that the control and the release point was consistent to what we saw at the end. I'll tell you, that was as good a finish as I've ever seen out of anybody. And he's a freshman, but it was a tremendous finish. And you look at his journey last year, how we were just part of his rehab, just sending him out there, starting him for 30 pitches, just trying to build him up in hopes that we could get him at the end of the year. Kind of like what Hayden Roberts did that year. We activated him late in the game. I think that was in 16 or 15 that really gave, I think it was 15, that really gave us a shot in the arm and helped us get a big run there at the end. Well, that's the same thing that Gabe did. But his last 3 outings, Troy midweek, which was our last midweek game, Rice in the conference tournament, and then our Arizona State on that stage were as good as anybody I've ever seen. So this spring, he's taken the mound one time. He was very sharp. So he'll take it again today, and we'll see how he responds on his second outing. But Gabe's a competitor, highly confident, very focused young man. He's all about winning each pitch. So it'll be fun to go out there and watch him again.
2 more.
Based on what you just said earlier in the press conference, it sounds like you're playing a lot of small ball.
Could be.
Do you prefer to play that style, like hit and runs, or would you rather have the power?
I'll be honest with you. I cut my teeth on hit and runs. I mean, in my early career, we've had teams that can hit the long ball. And I think one thing that you do, every coach has to adjust to what the personnel is. I think you have to figure out what helps your team win the most. It would be easy for me to sit here and be mad that we don't hit balls over the wall or hit balls off the wall and yell and yell and yell. But you know what? If it's not there, I better figure out something else. And I think that's what every coach has faced every year. There's never the same team year after year after year. There might be injuries. There might be a key injury that takes place that really turns everything around in how you do. We're preparing how to play the baseball game right now. Offensively, we want to be able, I don't care if it's your 4-hole hitter, if we ask you to suicide squeeze or we ask you to bunt for a hit or a safety squeeze, and that's what we're doing. And that was the message yesterday. But, I also have enough confidence for that guy to drive it in. But I want us athletic enough and well-versed enough in the game offensively that we can have different options than just sitting there either striking out or hitting a home run. So that's not who we're going to be, I don't feel like. I think we'll continue to improve each and every day with what we're trying to instill in these kids, and it's my job to try to figure out what makes this engine run.
Coach, you talked a couple times about Matthew Guidry. Your other captain, Alex Nelms, how have you seen him grow to this leader capable of taking on that kind of?
Well, he's embraced that. I'm very proud of that young man. When his baseball career is over, he's been accepted for med school, so that says a lot about him. The discipline that he has off the field, the student part of this experience, certainly he values it and understands what his career is going to be. But he still brings that same discipline, leadership to our guys in every day going out, working working the hardest you can, the best you can, and trying to make those around you better. So that's what Alex brings to us. You know, I won't lie to you. He needs to have a big year for us. You know, this is his senior year. He's logged in a lot of times. There's been successes, there's been failures, but with each of that, you continue and you hope that you get better, and that's what we're hoping that he is this year. Is he'll be that guy that can come in and whatever role we ask him to play, he plays it very well.
Coach, what do you think the biggest challenge for Gabe is going to be in his second year, coming off the year that he had, throwing as hard as he does, and probably going to be pitching some more innings this year?
Yeah, you know, I think is more than anything is probably being able to control the things on the outside. You know, I think you saw the past 2 years, you saw a lot of attention from Major League Baseball here to see Nick Sandlin, to see Wallner last year. I mean, they drew a lot of interest in here, and rightfully so. And I think a guy like Gabe Shepard is going to draw that same interest. You know, it certainly has right now. I'm sure there'll be guys here today that's going to be trying to get numbers on him and trying to get a feel how everything lines up for the draft in June. But I think just being able to control those emotions, to not get caught up, hey, I've got to do more than I'm capable of doing, and really just sinking in and focusing on what he can do and try not to let anything on the outside distract him. That's going to be the biggest challenge, because you and I both love attention. I mean, nobody doesn't like it. But it's hard sometimes to pull back and really focus, especially when you're 19, 20 years old. You know, sometimes that becomes a little hard to deal with. So it'll be our job to kind of keep him humble and keep him in check. And I think everything will be fine with that.
Anything else?
Coach, did